Hello, everybody. It's Barbara again. This is part two of my um, story that I was telling earlier, my badge of shame. This is the part two to it because I wanted to let you guys know how it all started. You know, it started with, um, like I said before, with very simple little things. And like I said, when I met him, he was a great guy. I thought he'd be a good father figure for my two boys because I only had them at the time. And then I had my daughter, and right after I had my daughter, that's when really everything changed, and I saw his true colors. Um, at that time, we would go places. I mean, he was good with the boys. Take them sledding in the wintertime and swimming in the summertime. I mean, he was great. So I'm just like, okay, finally I met a good guy. But like I said, right after I had my daughter is when everything changed. We would go places, and if he felt that someone was looking at me the wrong way, or if I was looking at someone the wrong way, then all hell broke loose. And he would start drinking and, smoking weed and whatever. And he'd never do anything in front of other people. He would wait until we get home and then start in, oh, well, you were looking at so-and-so, or he was checking you out, or, stupid little stuff like that. And I'm just like, oh, well, I didn't notice, whatever. And then here I am, young, naive, in a different place, a different city that I'm not familiar with, and I don't have any family there or any friends or anything. So what do I know? So I had really nobody to turn to at that time. So I didn't even know what domestic violence was. Being young, you hear about it, but you didn't know. I didn't know what it was. So me, I'm thinking, okay, well, he's just being jealous or whatever the situation was at the time, And it started off with like just a slap here and there, and I'm just like, oh, okay, whatever. And it was behind closed doors, like I said, and that was right after I had my daughter. And then it got more physical, around other people, around his family. Then it had become to a control thing, where he felt like he needed to control all the situations, every situation, financial situations, everything. So I'm just like, okay, well, that's what a man's supposed to do. And all of a sudden, what I thought was love, it wasn't love at all. Technically, it was physical abuse, it was mental abuse, it was sexual abuse, it was, all those things. And I thought, well, me thinking, okay, well, maybe it'll get better. And because I didn't know any better at the time. So it didn't get any better, So I'm like, oh my, what am I supposed to do? But I was so scared, and all of a sudden what I thought was happiness actually turned out to be like madness, madness and sadness all the time. But every time he said, I'm sorry, just like they always do. Every time he'd say, I'm sorry, I'd go right back. Because he would, say, oh, I'm never going to do this again, or, those type of things. And And looking back at those things, yeah, you want to believe people that when they say they'll never do it again or they love you and all this good stuff. And it sounds good at the time, because you love them, but obviously they are loving you in a totally different way, you know. And he even got to the point to where he tried to take himself out, to make me feel guilty, so I come back to him. And what do I do like a fool? I go running back. Oh my God, he's doing this because he loves me, whatever. But no, it wasn't because he loved me. It was because he was trying to control me and more or less playing with my emotions, And I thought, oh my God, he loves me so much he can't be without me. And little did I know he was actually setting me up for the worst part of it, for things to get worse, and it did get worse, and I went back again, all those times I kept going back, and it got to the point where like the simple slaps turned into the fist being balled up. And I can still see it. I can see it so clearly in my mind all these years later. I can see him hit me all in my head, in my face, in my mouth. And not hit me like, with a gentle hit. This is fist balled up like I was another man that he was in the street fighting. And that was terrifying to me. And it was when he was doing it, it was like he all of a sudden turned into a monster that I didn't know. It was nothing behind his eyes, and and I could still see it. There was nothing behind his eyes but rage. And I felt to myself, how can a person say they love you and the next moment beat you so severely that you have to go to the hospital? How can they say they love you? That's not love in any kind of shape, form, or fashion, And that's why I said I remember when I was in my speech class, and the teacher, when he asked us, we had to do something on, what you were feeling, or feelings, more or less, this in the speech class, and we had to get him in front of the class and read about it. That's actually when I first told my story at that time. And, I went home and I thought about it. I'm like, well, what am I going to write about? And then I sat down and I thought about it, I guess because it had never gone away. And really right now is the first time I'm kind of reaching out and telling anybody my story, because people don't understand when you're in a domestic violence situation, the fear that people put in your heart to make you not leave or to not stay with them. Or to stay with them, not to not stay with them, but to stay with them, and I had to name that paper my badge of shame, because it is such a shameful thing that so many of us women, and I'm not going to say just women, men as well, we hold these things in, hoping and praying that the situation gets better for us, And like I said, even to this day, I still carry the scars. When I rub my tongue across my lip, my bottom lip, where he hit me so hard that my tooth went into my lip and left a gash in my lip, I still feel that right to this day. And I can't get away from that. That's always a reminder. And maybe that's what God meant it to be. Always a reminder of what not to allow a person to do to you. Not to let them physically abuse you, not to let them emotionally abuse you. not to let them socially abuse you. And which means people might not understand what social abuse is. Social abuse is when they get you away from your family. You can't talk to your family. You can't talk to your friend. So that's the social abuse. That's to keep you away from the people that care about you, so they never know what's going on in your life. And I also say it's sexual abuse because, men and women, I'm not going to say just men. I'm not putting this just on men. I'm saying men and women that are abusers. What they do after they've beaten you or after they've, done these things to you, they want to crawl in bed next to you and have sex with you. That's sexual abuse because it's mental. Because they've just beat you down, and then all of a sudden they expect you to crawl into bed with them and hug on them and love on them like they've done something so great. So anyway, back to my little story. It was just something I didn't want no one to know about, anybody to know about. My family, my friends, which the few that I had at the time, I didn't want anybody to know about that, and going to work every day, I would put on my mask. That's why I call it my badge of shame, because it was a mask that I had to put on. I had to put on so much makeup that it covered the bruises, it covered the scars, putting on lipstick to cover the busted lip, and things like that. And the black eyes, the scratches all over your neck and everything. You put makeup on trying to mask yourself, because they put on that mask. They put on that mask to say that I'm this person. But when they take it off, it's like, oh, who are you underneath? I don't know who you are. But anyway, like I said, I didn't want anybody to know that me and my kids at that point in time, our life was a living hell. Because my children, my two boys and my daughter at the time, my youngest wasn't born yet, but my two sons had to watch this man physically abuse their mother. My daughter had to watch this man physically abuse her mother. And that killed me. That killed me to my soul, because I don't feel that any child should have to be hovered in a corner, afraid, is my mom gonna live, or is this man gonna beat her so bad that she's gonna die, and like I said, even to this day, many years later, it's taken so much out of me, and it's hard to get past. And I've tried. I haven't went and seen anybody, where I can sit down and talk to them. But God put this on my heart that I need to really get to the point to where I can leave the past behind, and He made me feel, going through all this, that everything was my fault, and I started feeling like everything was my fault. I wasn't a good mother. I wasn't a girlfriend. I wasn't good enough, or, it was like no matter how hard I tried. And like I said, it's just the little things that would tick him off, And I just remember one day coming home from work, and him and his guy friend had been hanging out at the house. And when I walked in, I went to the kitchen because I was about to cook dinner. And on my kitchen table sat a razor and a plate that still had Coke residue in the plate. And instead of him being understanding about it, I was like, why is this sitting on the table? Because the kids could have easily picked it up, licked the plate, and OD'd on Coke. Then here everybody's going to jail. Everybody's, in the system with the state over some stupid stuff that you and your friend was doing. Oh, I got beat up for that too, because that was no understanding. He didn't understand that, he didn't stand that at all. But, and like I said, my kids were young, and here I am thinking I'm trying to be a halfway good mother, which I thought I was doing, but at some point in time we all fall short. So, but anyway, I was trying to do the best I could do, and him not working or whichever way, he had time, I guess, to sit around and get high all day, drink all day, and snort coke. Him and his friends. So that was a big thing. And like I said, I'm not gonna, I don't mention names in this video because, it's to protect their privacy and my own. My name is Barbara. So it's okay because I'm the one that's doing the video. And like I said, it started, all this started after I had my daughter. And you would think a man that has a daughter would be better, and also having 2 sons, that you would be better, what I mean? But, that wasn't the case, and, I guess jealousy sometimes really overrules people, when they think that they might lose the person that they quote unquote supposed to love, then they tend to, abuse you, thinking that the abuse is going to make you stay. And like I said, that day that my friends and I were sitting on the porch, and I told you this in the video earlier, he beat me up over a car, just saying that a car was nice, and I didn't even know the person in the car. She didn't know the person in the car. It was just a car, but I got beat up over that. And those are the things that people need to look out for when you're in these relationships. When you see the jealousy starts, when you see the control starts, then there's a problem, There's really a problem that you need to look at and see that these things are not right, and I just recall many a nights going to the hospital, being beat up so bad. I just wanted to die because I didn't understand what had I done wrong to this man. I was working every day. I was paying the bills, and I never understood what I did wrong, and I he would beat me up just because, it was, I could look at him a certain way. I could say it, anything. Just it was crazy. It was it was crazy altogether because I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know why these things were happening, or why he felt the need to even do these things, And I didn't, like I said, I didn't want my kids growing up thinking that it's okay for a man to beat you down and, make you feel like you're nothing. And that was, that was not a good situation to be in, and it was devastating. That was a part of my life that was truly devastating. I mean, he tore me down physically, emotionally, sexually, mentally. He destroyed my every being that I had. It was gone. I didn't know who I was. I didn't know who this monster was I had in my life. I would have my mom come up and get the kids because I felt like I needed to protect them, just in case, because if he would hurt me the way he did, I never knew when he was going to turn his gaze to my children. So, it was so sad. And like I said, I just feel so, even now I feel overwhelmed just talking about it because it was such a sad situation. And I'm trying to hold back the tears because I want to talk and be honestly and open about this. Um, what what was done to me, it left me broken. Excuse me for that. It left me with a broken smile. My dreams were shattered, uh, bruises, beaten, battered, all that. You know, when I looked in the mirror doing all this, I would look in the mirror, and I didn't even know the person in the mirror. You know, it was like there was a person in the mirror, but that person wasn't me. You know, it was like she had this smile on, and I guess I can call it, I do call it a mask, because it was like she had this smile on her face when she needed to, you know, and then when she had to get home, she'd have to take that mask off, and then underneath that mask was all of this battered and bruised person, you know, and I didn't know that person, you know, and it like I said, it's just crazy, you know, when I think about it now. And that's why I say I still carry this badge of shame upon me, because it's still there. It's minimized where I don't think about it anymore because it's the past. But I just want people to actually see, you know, how a person can have you up here, and next thing you know, you're down here, and you don't even know why. You don't know what you did. You don't know why. It just, all you know, you're down there. And I'm learning. I've learned probably every day to, you know, minimize my badge of shame, because I will not put that on ever again, because I will never be with another abuser. But I think the most demeaning thing, like I said before, is that when a person has beaten you and then they want to crawl in bed with you and expect to cuddle up to you, that to me is so freaking disgusting. You know, and that's disgusting for a human to even think that you can get feelings from a person that you've beaten down a few hours prior. I guess even to this day, I still don't understand that, you know. And, you know, it's like their actions, you know, meant nothing to them, you know. And like I said, right to this day, as I said in my earlier video, right to this day, I have a real hard time trusting men, because, you know, and that, like I said, I'm not just going to put abuse on men, because there are women abusers just as well as there's men abusers. But I just don't totally trust men these days. And like I said, I don't think I ever will, because I've been through so much. And I don't think I can love someone wholeheartedly or give my heart to them, because, like I said, men have flipped the script, women have flipped the script, and then you're just sitting there like, oh my God, what just happened? You know, and, you know, I'm looking, you know, hopefully, you know, maybe one day I'll find somebody, you know, that I can give my heart to. But I just don't want to find that monster again, and I don't want to see the face of evil staring back at me, you know. So, like I said, I just don't, some days I feel, like I said before, you know, I feel empty inside. And that's because that person took so much of my hopes and my dreams, you know, and you know, and actually, I finally told my sister probably about a year ago that the final straw with him was one day when she came up to visit. Like I said, I won't put her name out there either, but she came up to visit and she was at my house. And that was the day he jumped on me regarding the car that we saw pass the street, go down the street. And, you know, she had her little deuce with her. And she had said to him, if you ever put your hands on my sister again, I'm gonna have to do the thing. And that day made me walk out on him and never look back. And I did. I walked out and I never looked back. And like I said, I guess what I'm looking for these days is my ride or die. I want somebody that's got my back, and I want to know that they're sincere. That whatever we go through it together. Not that, oh, all of a sudden one day you're kind, and because you can't handle the pressures of life, oh, you flip the script and you flip out. I don't want that type of person in my life, because I'm not going to go through it. I want somebody that's real and relevant, you know what I'm saying, that knows, hey, I'm not finna put my hand on a woman because I wasn't raised like that, And like I said, in my previous video, I love my children and I will die for my children. Maybe, and maybe that's too, I don't know, you might tell me, oh, phew, that's kind of a crazy statement. But and that's the same with my sister, my nephew. If they needed a kidney or a lung and mine is good enough to give it to them, I would. You know what I'm saying? That's the love that I have for mine. You know what I'm saying? Now, I don't know about the rest of these people, or whatever they have for their families or whatever, but I love my family, and I'm not going to let nobody mess over my family. But, I have, like I said, I have 2 daughters, and it is time, I guess, out for us women. It's time to break this cycle of abuse, and men, women and men. It's time to break this cycle of abuse, because life is too freaking short to not be happy, not to, enjoy your life, and like I said, I think about my kids all the time. And like I said, let's stop accepting things. You know what I'm saying? Be kind to one another. Love one another, And don't stay with these men. If you feel that you're in a emotionally abusive relationship, and people don't even know what that means. Emotional abuse is that you love them more than they love you, and you want to be a part of their lives, but they don't want to be a part of your life. That's emotional abuse. Physical is when they put their hands on you. Mentally is when they tell you that you're no good and nobody's going to want you and nobody's going to love you. And, and that's the emotional abuse, And as I said, sexual abuse is when they beat you up and beat you down, and then they want to come crawl into bed with you and make love to you or have sex with you, because it's not making love, it's sex. And you can have sex with anybody out there on the street. But, I'm just doing this because, I've held so much in for so long, and it was on my heart, and I almost lost my life and lost my whole self, in this abusive relationship. Because if I had stayed in it, I probably wouldn't be here today to speak about it. You know what I mean? So, just know, and like I said, and don't forget the social abuse. The social abuse is when they take you away from your surroundings, your family, your friends. They want you to stop seeing your friends. Don't want to know your whole conversation with who you're talking to. But what I want you to realize that there are resources, as I will say time and time again. And I don't know when I'll come back on here and post something else, that I'm feeling, or, God puts on my heart or whatever. But what I want you to know is there are resources out there. And I will keep saying it. There are resources out there. If you're afraid to leave, make that phone call. There's hotlines. there's shelters, there's places you can go to keep yourself safe, to keep your children safe, to keep, there is just so many resources. But if you don't speak about it, nobody knows. Don't sit in silence and die in silence, because there's one woman dying every hour on the hour from domestic abuse, and it leaves the children with no father or no mother. So there's nobody winning in this. So if you do nothing else, and if I get one person, and if I can help one person, that will make me know that I did something that was right. Because my abuser, he abused all the women even after me. So it wasn't my fault. It wasn't anything that I did. It was just in him, And that's what I'm saying. Let's break this chain, this cycle that we have to sit in silence and die in silence and watch our kids be shifted off from family member to family member. Let's stop this. Open your mouth, talk, tell a friend, tell a coworker, tell your priest, your pastor, whoever that you feel comfortable enough to talk to, because you're here today, but you might not be tomorrow. So with me saying this, and like I said, I wanted to go a little bit more in depth with the things that I had gone through, but with me saying this, please, let's break the chain. Let's break the silence. Don't be afraid to talk about it, because I was for many years. And like I said, my family didn't know for many years, because I put on that badge. I put on my mask, and I put on my badge, and I act like nothing was going on, which deep down inside, I was dying. So with that being said, thanks for watching. If you want to comment, that's fine. If you don't like the video, that's fine too. But if you want to reach out to me, please feel free to do so. I'm here to talk about it. I'm not ashamed anymore. Like I said, that was many years ago. But if you just need somebody to listen, please reach out and give this video a 2 thumbs up. And hopefully I can reach out to you again about some things that, people really don't want to talk about but needs to be talked about. So my name is Barbara. Love you. God loves you. And peace out. Have a good one. Bye.